They didn't just come for his job, they came for his name. And Todd Monken finally said enough.
That wasn't just praise, that was a warning. When Todd Monken said arm talent, he wasn't hyping Shedeur, he was revealing what he's seen every single day. That's not coach talk, that's evaluation. And if you listened closely, there was something else hidden in that message. Because while praising Shedeur, he was exposing what went wrong last season without saying it directly. No reps, no real development, no system built for him. And now, everything's different. Every throw matters. Every rep is intentional. Which means one thing. Someone inside that building already knows what Shedeur is about to become.
Coach Todd Monken and owner Jimmy Haslam are removing Browns reporters and insiders access to the team due to a lot of the negativity and lies that they have been spewing, and particularly about Shedeur Sanders, things like that. And a lot of these people, the Anthony Limas, the Mary Kay Cabots, they're getting cut off. It's very, very clear that the ownership is saying, hey, we're not dealing with y'all. They see that these people were really upset when Kevin Stefanski got fired. Why? Because he was giving them information.
They blocked every camera, shut every reporter out, and the Cleveland Browns, one of the most scrutinized franchises in the NFL, just went completely dark. This isn't a PR move. This isn't damage control. This is a head coach going to war for his quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, didn't just inherit the pressure of that last name. He walked into one of the most hostile media environments a rookie quarterback has faced in recent memory, and nobody in Cleveland said a word about it, until now. If you care about what's really happening inside the Cleveland organization, and you want the full story that the media doesn't want you to see, hit that subscribe button right now. We cover this stuff the way it deserves to be covered. Let's get into it.
Y'all gonna have a long day if y'all don't get these questions right with Mr. Monken. Todd, would you let them know?
Mini camp, just the first one, obviously. So can you kind of share how did Deshaun and Shedeur and Dylan look? Now you got all
we just couldn't get past the draft and get right on to back to the quarterback. Anybody got some Miles questions too while we're at it? I mean, hell.
They haven't been getting the level of access, and that's why they've been acting so on edge. You've seen her going off and all this stuff. Listen, man, they are getting cut off. My man G. Bush broke this thing all the way down.
3 days. That's all it took. 3 days into voluntary minicamp, ink barely dry on the offseason schedule, and Mary Kay Cabot, the lead Cleveland Browns beat writer, was already publishing her take that Deshaun Watson was the more likely starter over Shedeur Sanders. Not after weeks of practice, not after a real training camp battle had played out, after 3 voluntary workouts. That is not reporting. That is not analysis. That is an agenda being planted before the facts have had any chance to develop. And that was the moment Todd Monken drew his line. But here's the part nobody is talking about. This wasn't the beginning. This was the final straw at the end of a season-long campaign that had been building since before Shedeur Sanders ever threw a single NFL pass. The Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders with the 5th overall pick in the entire NFL draft. 5th overall pick. And then gave him 0, not a handful, not a limited number, 0 first-team repetitions in training camp. You know what the Cleveland media did with that story? Nothing. Complete silence. No headlines, no segments, not a single question to the organization about why their prized rookie wasn't getting a fair shot to develop. Because that story didn't get clicks. That story didn't stir the kind of outrage that keeps audiences engaged. So they left it alone and found a different target. The same reporters now demanding unrestricted access to Shedeur Sanders' preparation were completely silent when the Browns were setting him up to fail. Let that sink in.
Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now.
Rex Ryan went on live national television and completely lost his composure, screaming that Shedeur wasn't doing enough to get on the field. A veteran football personality with decades of experience at the professional level, sitting in front of a camera, publicly degrading a rookie quarterback who had not been handed a single first-team rep to work with. The organization failed to prepare him, and a media figure went on air to blame the player for the consequences. Where was the accountability? Where were the follow-up questions? Where was the pressure on the Browns front office for not giving their 5th overall pick a real chance? There was none, because going after the player gets more heat than holding the organization responsible. And then it got worse. When Shedeur mentioned he was dealing with arm soreness, Tony Grossi went on air and mocked him, questioned his toughness, questioned his commitment to the game, suggested openly and on record that Sanders had no right to be sore given how little he had been used. Think about how completely backwards that logic is. The Browns restricted his repetitions. His body responded to that workload exactly the way any athlete's body would, and a reporter took that natural physical response and used it as a weapon to attack a rookie's character. That is not analysis. That is a hit job. And Mary Kay Cabot was working in the background through all of it, calling Shedeur undisciplined, calling him narcissistic, week after week producing articles pushing the idea that Dillon Gabriel was the better option, that the Browns may have made a mistake, that Gabriel deserved the opportunity Shedeur wasn't being given. She built an entire narrative, brick by brick, designed to undermine a first-year quarterback before he ever had a fair shot to prove himself, and she did it with the full credibility and platform of a lead beat writer standing behind every word she published. And look, there were moments last season where you had to wonder, is this kid going to survive this? No first-team reps, no support from the media, a fan base that had been conditioned by months of negative coverage to see him as a problem before he was ever given a chance to be a solution. That is not a quarterback competition. That is a setup to fail. But Shedeur Sanders kept showing up every single day inside a building that gave him nothing to work with and a media environment that had already written his exit before he ever walked through the door. And here's the thing about that. The resilience it takes to survive that kind of pressure at that level in that market as a rookie, most people would have cracked. Most people would have checked out. Most people would have let the noise get inside their head and stayed there. He didn't. And Todd Monken saw every single day of it.
Obviously, it was counterproductive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus, God, would you give him a chance?
Well,
My God,
here's the
because his
thing.
arm's sore?
Yeah.
What, that's a negative? That the kid's got a sore arm?
Yes.
Because he's working too hard? The hell out.
All part of the evaluation. I don't care if the team will admit that or not. But this goes on the negative side of the ledger for Shedeur Sanders.
And then everything changed. Monken went on a podcast and said it directly. There is no predetermined favorite for the starting job. This competition is going to be evaluated honestly and on merit. My decision comes when I have real evidence in front of me. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't dodging. He stepped up and gave a direct, honest answer to every question being asked. And then he shut the doors. Every reporter blocked. No cameras, no notebooks hovering at the edges of practice looking for the next controversy to manufacture, no narrative chasing in the background of every training session. Just players, coaches, and football. Because here is what Monken understands, and what a lot of people outside that building refuse to acknowledge. The media environment surrounding a young quarterback has a direct impact on that quarterback's ability to prepare and develop. Every manufactured controversy pulls focus. Every negative cycle creates noise that players have to actively block out instead of channeling their energy into getting better. Monken watched Shedeur Sanders navigate that environment for an entire season without ever being given a fair foundation to succeed from, and he made one decision: protect the preparation environment going forward. Full stop. No cameras hunting for a moment to pull out of context, no reporters waiting for a bad day to build their next hot take around, just a quarterback and his coaching staff doing the work that actually matters. This is what real protection looks like. Not just kind words in a press conference, not just vague statements about believing in your player. An actual, concrete decision that removes the problem from the equation entirely. Monken has already seen what Shedeur Sanders can do. He has seen the ability. He has seen the resilience it takes to survive everything that was thrown at that young man last season. Now his job is simple. Build the wall. Protect the space. Let the player prepare without the noise. Todd Monken did not block media access because he is scared of scrutiny. He did it because he watched a group of reporters spend an entire season failing their basic responsibility to cover this team fairly, and he decided his quarterback deserved better than a repeat of that. Every decision he has made points in the same direction. He believes in Shedeur Sanders, and he is making sure the environment around him reflects that belief in the most direct and unambiguous way possible. The reporters can write whatever they want from the outside, but they will not be in that building doing it. Shedeur Sanders deserved better than what he got in year 1, and right now, in Cleveland, Todd Monken is making sure year 2 looks completely different. That is not a coach protecting himself. That is a coach going to war for his quarterback. And in this league, that means everything. Now here is the real question that nobody seems to want to address directly. If the Cleveland media had covered Shedeur Sanders with even a fraction of the fairness and objectivity their job demands, would Todd Monken have ever had to shut those doors in the first place? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Are you with Monken on this call, or do you think shutting out the media creates a different set of problems down the road? And if this video gave you something the mainstream coverage didn't, share it, because this story deserves to be told the right way.